Hello, everyone. Welcome to our June 2025 feature drop for Gatemaster Mobile. Really excited to walk through some of these new features we created for you, as well as features you can expect in the future, some of our pro services, Gatemaster on the go. We're actually on the move right now, some live with Sandra's information, as well as a Q&A at the end. Short introduction, if you don't know me, my name is Manny. I'm a software support technician here at Gatemaster, and I also do some quality assurance on the engineering and development side. So really the big nerd, if you have any questions about how anything works under the hood, I'm probably your guy. Another important introduction I wanted to do today was Ariana. Ariana's our executive assistant, and she's going to be guiding me through the Q&A today. So thank you, Ari. Yeah, let's just jump straight into the meat and potatoes. So I'm going to jump straight into our biggest feature, which for this release is going to be our Intercard release. So if you're not familiar, Intercard is one of the leaders in the cashless card system space, and now we support an integration with them. We actually were integrated with them in our previous software in E2, and we're finally bringing them to Gatemaster Mobile. So you'll find some new settings here in your general setup settings. These are going to be standard to even kind of begin with the Intercard setup, and all this information is going to be sourced from Intercard themselves. So if you're really interested in getting this set up, make sure you reach out to either Tiffany or I, and we'll make sure to kind of liaison you through that experience. We have some contacts that'll make it all easy. But once you do get all set up and going, you have your card readers, your servers, and everything to go. We can start working with Gatemaster as well. So on our end, we'll see that as a type of item. So you'll see this new Intercard type of merchandise item, and it's actually very similar to our cash list. So if you've ever worked with gift cards or anything like that inside of Gatemaster, you'll be pretty familiar with the Intercard system. When you select the Intercard type, it populates this new Intercard tab where we can specify what exactly we're selling with this card, whether that be, cash balance, points, tokens, time play, or we could even create specific Intercard packages within the Intercard system, and those will be communicated to Gatemaster here. So we can select from any pre-existing packages as well. So that's all pretty fun. I think I'm going to walk you guys through how we can kind of sell a Intercard item here. So here on my POS, I've loaded up a ton of different items, and I'm thinking I want to sell this 10 tokens to a guest. Once I hit that button on the POS, I'll be asked to enter the account ID. Intercard actually has their own account IDs that are separate from Gatemaster, so this will be verified in their system, and it won't have to follow. I think if you're familiar with Gatemaster, we like to keep 16 digits beginning with a 2. It seems like Intercard is basically alphanumeric, so there's a chance it could start from 1, 2, 3 all the way up, and I think you'll have to speak to them if you want some specific format. But we'll enter that ID there, and we'll see it loaded up onto the POS. So for $5, I'm selling 10 tokens to that Intercard ID 7559. And once that's complete, it'll be just like any other sale where we can check afterwards and make sure it's complete. To check on any Intercard sale, not one you just completed, you'll be able to hit that scan button we have on the POS, or actually just physically scan the card. And it should pull up those Intercard details like this. So we'll have the account ID, all the different kinds of balances, as well as time play information and when the account was created. There are also some kind of additional features I think you'll see around, and I wanted to run through those as well. So outside of any sales, if you were hoping to, compensate a customer, let's say they had a bad experience or their transaction was funky in some kind of way, we actually do have a compensate option here. So let's say we need to add $5 cash, some extra tokens. That's totally possible within the Gatemaster system, and we can do that within the Intercard account details itself. Something some people may have already noticed as well, or you may have caught when I was showing off that scan screen, there's actually a few options now when we go to scan an ID. And this is because of those Intercard IDs, since they're not guaranteed to be unique. It is a chance that you may have a transaction ID or an account ID that is the same as your Intercard ID. We wanted to give you the options. So let's say the case we imagined was you're scanning an Intercard ID, and for some reason, very unlucky, I'm assuming 99% of the time it's going to work as intended, but in that 1% case, it's pulling up a transaction instead. all you'll need to do is specify, no, I'm not looking for a transaction. I'm actually looking for an intercard account. And this will make sure we're only looking in that intercard table for the number you're after. So kind of extra specification if you're ever having trouble finding exactly what you're after. And the last part I wanted to run through here was our kind of merging and splitting functionality. We've always had that with cashless, and we also added that with intercard here. So if you go to the administration tab, you should have a new intercard transfer option where we could enter two different IDs and merge or split them. And additionally, if you go into the register settings, we can actually enable an intercard button that will live at the bottom of the POS. And that will make it quicker for, POS operators or lower level staff to access this intercard transfer screen if they need to. So I know that was a lot all at once and pretty quickly, but if you're interested in, supporting an intercard setup at your location or really, getting a new arcade setup going, maybe it's something completely new, we're really excited to help you. And we think with intercard, we're making big leaps towards, the industry standards in that space. So very excited to have intercard with Gatemaster now, and feel free to ask any questions that you still have. More generally speaking, and going through some of our other features here, we did make a few improvements to the Apple and Google Wallet. So you'll see here on this ticket on the left that was the first iteration, and we were receiving feedback that the valid dates were a bit unclear, and specifically for the tickets, since a lot of times the time range is really specific for the event. Let's say it's only going from 5 to 9. That is important information, and that was being omitted originally. So now, if you get a digital pass, whether that be on Apple or Google, it is going to have the times associated with that event in the system. Not the best example here. I picked one that ran all day, but if it were to only run for 3 or 4 hours, now we'll see that information reflected on the pass as well. Another improvement we made for the Apple and Google passes was delivering both options. So you'll see here up top, in the past, it would depend on the device you use to make the purchase. So there was some interesting situations where, people were using like Safari on like a Google device, and they were getting Apple Wallet links. So we think the easiest way and, the most proper solution would be to just kind of leave it up to the end user. So we're going to deliver all links there. And they'll be able to add as many as they'd like. In the case that, let's say they hit an Apple Wallet and they're on a Google device, we actually do have some prompts set up to say, like, this is unavailable for the device you're on, so it hopefully isn't too confusing if they do pick the wrong option there. And lastly, I know something else that some guests were asking for, we did create an option to entirely disable the digital passes. So if you go to your e-commerce settings, at the very bottom of those core settings, you should see enable wallet links. By default, this will be enabled, but if you were interested in having those turned off, just uncheck that box and save, and you'll no longer be sharing those digital passes with your guests. One of the last features I'm going to talk about today are these user note alerts. So there's a new setting in the POS settings where we can enable billing notes like on an account alert. So this was built so we could notify POS operators of notes that maybe they're not seeing when they're inspecting the account, and that we can't really capture in a standard account alert. So you'll see here in this GIF at the bottom, I'm pulling up my own account, and I put an alert so that it shares, these are the billing account notes, but in your case, it could be whatever it is. Maybe, contact management, we owe them XYZ, a very useful feature if needed, and a feature that's existed on access nodes for a while. So we're just kind of bringing the POS up to date with that now. And if you're interested in seeing a full list of new features and fixes, definitely check out the Gatemaster user portal. I actually don't think that's up just quite yet, but I'll definitely have it up by the end of day today. I did want to preview a few upcoming features, definitely some exciting things coming. I think the biggest of all is going to be this new merchant processing integration. Very soon, I want to say Q4, we're going to begin offering Clearant as a merchant processing option. And Clearant has this awesome chargeback portal. So if that's something you're struggling with, they have I'd say it's pretty groundbreaking, honestly, and it makes the management of all that information, since it can become a lot. And if you have lots of different cases, it could get overwhelming quickly. Clearant's chargeback portal is definitely an awesome tool for that. And if you're interested in that, definitely reach out to Tiffany or I, and we can get you more information. Another change that I think people will be excited to see, for the longest times now, containers and item names have been limited to 30 characters, where we haven't decided on an exact limit just quite yet, but we are definitely going to be increasing the character limits, and this will hopefully allow us to get more specificity in the item names. And really, right now, we're just trying to figure out how many, like, what is that upper limit of text we can fit in the POS boxes to make sure we're not overflowing or doing anything graphically weird. Some things you may have been used to seeing, we are still dedicated to bringing this start-stop validation. So there's going to be some start-stop options in that valid tab, and that's going to correspond with when an item will appear or disappear on the POS screen. And this is really for locations that have, let's say, happy hour or after 5 p.m. kinds of deals. This is the kind of feature you'd want to use to make sure we're not selling those outside of the intended time window. And we're still undergoing that self-service kiosk redesign, and here's kind of a working prototype of what we're hoping it'll look like at the end. And lastly, these dynamic pricing reports. I think it was around Q4 last year, we added dynamic pricing for calendars, and we still want to bring reporting so you can make more informed decisions about where you want to have your price point set. I'd say for our next release, we're tentatively setting the date in early August, but it's definitely possible it could come at the very tail end of July, just kind of erring on the side of safety with that. If you're interested in any pro services for your Gatemaster account, definitely be sure to reach out. And that could be anything from adding seats to custom development. If you need any sort of large data entry, with our fall seasons coming up, if we have any large teams, we want to get some staff inserted, definitely let us know. This is all possible through our pro services. And most importantly, custom development. Truly, if you have an idea at the back of your mind that's been itching at you that you think will take your service to the next level, we're definitely willing to bring it to life for you. So just reach out to either Tiffany, me, any of our other Gatemaster agents, and we'll do our best to help you out. We'll probably start by qualifying the request, and then we'll work through the different requirements and timelines to get it done. Here we'll see an additional screen. So if you're interested in additional seats outside of just POSs or access nodes, we have kiosks. This is like a customer-facing secondary screen, so they can verify that everything that they're being sold looks correct, and this actually helps reduce refunds. So if you're ever interested in any of that, be sure to reach out. Actually, today and tomorrow, Tiffany and I will be at the IAPA Presents Holiday World in Splash and Safari. So I'm actually I'm in Indiana right now, and we're heading out later tonight to go head out and see the park. I'm very excited. It's my first time ever at Holiday World, so it should be a good time. I think they have a drone show and some other fun things prepared for us. So if you or anyone from your team is here, definitely make sure they come over and say hi to us. They're always excited to mingle with our customers. And if you can't make it to this one, definitely try to make it to the next one. The IAPA Presents events are just absolutely awesome, and I'd say definitely a highlight of working in the industry. They're always fun. Next, I wanted to walk through the Live with Sandra. We actually have a really exciting one tomorrow with the CEO and president of Whiting's Foods, Ken Whiting, and that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you're interested in being a guest with Live with Sandra, feel free to scan this QR code or reach out to either Ari, Destiny, Tiffany could even help you out, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. All righty, and I think we're going to hop into this Q&A here. Any questions in the chat, Ari?
There are no questions yet, but they are starting to come in. So what kind of reporting improvements or operational visibility does the Intercard integration bring to venues?
Yeah, so in terms of reporting, that's actually still going to be, I'd say fairly standard to what you're used to. So all those selling items are going to report on your date sales incomes, date sales by container report, and it'll kind of help us. I think it'll be interesting once you get it into Gatemaster to really see how it contributes to your organization's bigger picture. Since I think if you're using Intercard right now in a standalone system, they have some very capable reports, but it's kind of in its own environment. So with it in Gatemaster now, I think it'll be more exciting to see how's the arcade doing next to other attractions or food and beverage, things like that. So I think just connecting it to your other operations is going to bring a whole new facet for you.
Perfect. The next question is, how do we send the pass to Apple Wallet if the pass was sold on the POS? Is that a capability?
Currently, I do not believe so. I think we're looking to add that feature, but right now it's limited to e-commerce passes. Although we do have like a PDF digital pass that can be emailed from the POS. It won't be possible to email an Apple or Google Pass link just yet.
Okay, so in the works,
In
David.
the works.
Next, how does the Intercard integration benefit attractions that operate both ticketing and arcade-based entertainment?
Yeah, so I know a big headache for people currently using both Intercard and Gatemaster before they were integrated was having to manage both those, different systems, having to teach your staff to, well, if it's an arcade card, you actually have to leave Gatemaster, go to this system. So I think outside of keeping operations cleaner, keeping everything on one system and kind of consolidating everything, it's going to make, your customers happy that it's easy to purchase everything in one spot and reload everything, check their balance. I think it's truly just like a quality of life improvement. I don't think we reinvented anything really. We're really just making things more convenient for operators and customers all alike.
Nice. The next question that we have is, does the full date and time on wallet passes feature support event setups?
Yeah, so that would be present on anything that isn't a season pass. So anything associated with the calendar is going to have that time and date that it was associated with and purchased. And as you saw in that example, even if it's an all-day example, it'll list that all-day time.
All right, wonderful. And I do believe that's all the questions that we have currently. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or open up a ticket and get it over to Manny through the support portal. Thanks, Manny.
Yeah, no worries. Um, Awesome. And yeah, like Ari said, if you guys ever need any help or just want to reach out and get your questions answered, the support portal is always a great way. If you can't, if you think it's not as important, definitely just shoot us a call, maybe even shoot me an email. I'm always available over email, and you'll definitely want to keep up with our social medias, be it our LinkedIn, Instagram. I know Tiffany's been working really hard on some new articles to help improve, all kinds of operations. If you haven't seen any of those, I'd say give them a read. They've been awesome. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming to our feature drop for June 2025, and excited to do this again when we're ready in, August. Yeah, early August. That'll be exciting. Thank you, everyone.